Hey gang, Bronco Carl 92 here. So for today's project, I've got a 2003 Mini Cooper S that has an AC that does not blow cold. Alright, so anyway, Ian picked up his LR3 and brought over his wife's Mini Cooper. This car sits all winter, and when the AC was blowing warm on it, we figured, well, more than likely the refrigerant probably leaked out, because usually that's what happens when the system doesn't get used for a while and the seals harden up. So anyhow, so what I did was actually, you can see I already took a lot apart on this thing, but anyhow, what I did was I put a couple gauges on, or I put the gauge set on here, and I was really surprised that the thing had refrigerant in it. So I went about figuring out why the AC wasn't working, and what I came to determine was the clutch isn't engaging. I used the scan tool, and the engine control unit actually controls the compressor clutch. It was sending the request out. The relay is in this box over here. It's this one. The relay was clicking on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fuse number 7 is actually the power feed. There was power going through. So to get to the compressor, which is way down there underneath the alternator, I basically had to remove the front bumper and support, and get this core support apparatus, or whatever you want to call it, loose, to get to the wire. I get voltage to the wire at the compressor, but the clutch doesn't turn on. So I hot wired the clutch. Clutch doesn't work, so we're going to replace the compressor. So anyway, I'm just going to run this thing over to the body shop, and we're going to responsibly remove the refrigerant with a evacuation machine. So I'm going to go do that and see if I get some footage over there. So see you in a minute. Alright, so everyone can see I'm actually doing this the right way. And slowly pulling it out. Alright, so we're back at the shop here. Got the bumper support back off. I have this front core support loose, pulled forward. The instructions say to remove the AC condenser, I'm assuming, because we're going to be replacing the dryer, and I don't think it's going to come out very easily. So let's get that pulled off. So just undo the lines over here. 10mm bolt. And another 10mm bolt on the two lines, like I said. And of course, there's nothing in the system because we just got done sucking it out. 10 over here. Condenser lifts off. So like I said, this dryer is what we're going to be replacing, so let's put this aside. Alright, next thing we need to do is we need to take the tension off the serpentine belt. This is car supercharged, so there's a lot of tension on here, so let me take a look at the instructions on how to get that loose, and we'll get you back on. Alright, this belt's under a lot of tension, and there's a special tool which I don't have to do this, so I improvised. So what I did was I took this bolt here, I wound it out a little bit, and I stuck left a socket around it to use as a fulcrum. Down there you could see the bolt that I stuck in there. There's two little holes, and what happens is the tool actually hooks into that part of the tensioner, and then pivots against this, and you push down you push down this way on the tool, and what you need to do is you need to insert a locking pin. And I'm just trying to see if you can see where that the end of my hook tool goes. There's a second hole that opens up, so when you push down on the tool, that goes up and your belt's loose. So anyhow, it's kind of a pain to do and hold the camera, so I'll show you when I release it. Maybe you get a better idea how that works. So anyway, I pull the belt off, and let's all right, so the belt's off. Basically the easiest thing to do is pull the belt off of this idler pulley over here, and then it just falls right out of place. So let's get this compressor out. So what we need to do that is we need to undo the connection here for the refrigerant lines. There's two 6mm Allen bolts, and then there's a bolt here, and then there's a pivot bolt underneath. So let's see if we can get you set up and do that. Alright, so I have a long Allen key here with a ball on the end of it because of the way this line is configured. The lines should just wiggle off. It looks like they have a little steel pin to align them, and I would assume that with the aluminum, they're probably a little seized. Get on top of the screwdriver. Just one. Yes, the lovely effects of steel and aluminum together. Okay, the lines are now off. All we have to do is just unbolt the compressor. Alright, so like I said, there's a pivot bolt underneath. A long bolt, of course. Alright, and then this bolt here. Apparently this car has a little bit of an oil leak. I'm not really interested in pursuing that. I guess the car does have English heritage, so it should leak. You know, they say to keep the oil down on the dusty roads. Bolts out. There's one more bolt in the front. A little extension. Compressor is off. Okay, so there's our new compressor on the right there. I've already removed the shipping caps and put them on the old one. It did come with new bolts. All right, I've also replaced the O-rings on these lines. So we got an O-ring kit. It's funny, the one O-ring is green and the other one's purple. I'm not sure why. They come with different colors. I assume they're the same material. Anyhow, let's get this compressor in place. Okay, so install the pivot bolt. Finesse, flip the compressor up. There's one. And I think it would be best to get these top bolts just snug. Tighten the pivot bolt up. The replacement compressor does come filled with oil, which is good. Make sure that the wire doesn't get pinched behind the compressor. That would be a bad thing. Two. 3. Okay. Connect our electric lead. And we can connect our lines. supercharge. There's the suction. And the compressor came with new bolts. Finally, we tighten up the lines. All right. Okay, so we're gonna throw the belt back on and then put the support back in place, put the condenser back on, and we'll pull a vacuum and we'll charge it up. All right, so I fed my belt back in place, my new belt. If you're gonna reuse the old belt, you should definitely, the repair manual says to note which direction it went on. You gotta put it back on in the same direction as you took it off. So basically you just pry up on this, tool falls out, that's it. Actually worked pretty well. Take your fulcrum off. Tighten this bolt back up. Remove your pivoting bolt. Just kind of stuck. Okay, it's on the ground. Put your dipstick back in place. And that's that. All right, I'm going to put the, we're going to change the dryer now. All right, so to replace our dryer, we use a T20 Torx. And just remove this upper support. Sorry about that. And the this just winds off with a 13. The replacement one has a 14. That's why I didn't have the right tool for it. So there's a little bit of assembly grease, I guess, on this one. We can just transfer to the new unit. I don't think. Yes, you don't use this. Anyway, you put a little of this grease on here. Cap off. Put this in place. Now, we want to try to get this condenser installed as quickly as possible, because you don't want it you don't want the condenser or this new desiccant container getting exposed to the outside air. Because the whole point of it is to dry the air conditioning system. install our condenser. All right, so installation is basically reverse removal. Bring this up on the radiator here. There's a clip here, support here. Two 10s. Lines. Replace the O-rings already. Now I'm going to get my vacuum pump, and we'll pull a vacuum on this for about a half an hour and see if the vacuum holds. Vacuum holds, that's good. If not, we'll have to see where we got a leak, and then we'll charge this up. Okay, so our car's been sitting on vacuum now for, let's say, a good 2 hours. And you can see we're still at 29 inches, which is great. So I'm going to hook up my charging station and charge this thing up. Okay, so we have our dial-a charge set up over here, and it's at about 130 degrees. And I have the proper amount of refrigerant in here already. It's 415 grams. So I'm just going to open these valves up. And it's going down. And it should be full. Just like that. It's a pretty hot day, so we got, here's our high and our low side. The system seems to be working well. Seems cold inside. Let me get an inside temp check. Alright, so we got a vent temp of 47.6. This car was very hot inside. I just took it for a ride. It actually dropped down about to 43 while I was driving, so I think that's pretty good. If you make it too much colder, you have problems with the evaporator freezing up. So anyhow, that's that. Another job done. So the car's back together. I'm sure people are going to say, well, you know, how did you get the front end apart? It's actually really not too bad. The front bumper here is held on torque screw on each side. There is a bolt coming up through the bottom here on the inside of the wheel well on both sides. And then along the bottom here, there's 3 10mm bolts and 2 Phillips screws, and this just pulls right off. Once that's pulled off, the support is only held on with 4 nuts and 1 bolt on each side, and then you can pull everything off here. So anyhow, I'm going to wrap this project up. So as always, thanks for watching. Take care now.